Your house is on the market. Now it's showtime. Hi, I'm Laura with utahhomeslaura.com. Your house is officially on the market. Now what? Now what? Let's talk about managing showings, making a great impression on buyers, and navigating those crucial seller's disclosures. Showings are your chance to shine, to show your property off. Every showing is an opportunity to connect with a potential buyer, and you want to make sure you can do that. So prepping for showings can feel like, a constant scramble, but with some upfront organization and a few handy strategies, you can streamline the process. So before your first showing, we must declutter and organize as much as possible. This creates a sense of spaciousness and allows buyers to focus on your home features, not your belongings. So you want clear surfaces, you want it to be organized, you want those personal items tucked away. You want a neutral environment that allows buyers to envision themselves in your space. Availability is key. The more flexible you are with showing requests, the better your chances of a quick sell. We'll work with you to create a showing schedule that balances convenience with also maximizing exposure to potential buyers. Now let's discuss those all-important seller's disclosures. Now in Utah, sellers are required to disclose any known material defects that could affect the property's value or desirability. I know it's a hefty document, it's 16 pages long, but providing complete and accurate information is crucial for protecting both you as a seller and the buyer. Disclose everything you know, even if it's big or small. It's always best to over-disclose than risk facing legal issues down the road. So what kind of things should you disclose? Think structural issues, foundation problems, roof leaks, plumbing or electrical problems, environmental concerns like radon, asbestos, and mold. Past pest infestations, termites, or any significant repairs or renovations that you have made. Even if a problem has been repaired, it still needs to be disclosed. For example, if you had a leaky roof that was repaired last year or maybe 20 years ago, you still need to disclose that. Remember, disclosure isn't about scaring buyers away. It's about transparency and building trust. By being upfront and honest, you create a positive buying experience and minimize potential issues down the road. If you're unsure whether something needs to be disclosed, consult with us. It's always better to be safe than sorry. Now, let's talk about some of those items required by the seller to provide to the buyer prior to the seller's disclosure deadline. The disclosures include a written seller property conditions disclosure for the property. It needs to be completed, signed, and dated by the seller. Also, a lead paint disclosure acknowledgement for the property completed, signed, and dated by the seller. Now, this disclosure is only needed if the property was built prior to 1978. Next, a commitment for title insurance. As a seller, you're required to provide the buyer with a title insurance policy. The seller needs to provide any copy of any restricted covenants, which are the CC&Rs, the rules and regulations affecting the property. The seller needs to provide a copy of the most recent minutes, budget, and financial statements for the homeowners association. And if any, the seller will need to provide a copy of any long-term tenant lease or rental agreements affecting the property not expiring prior to closing. The seller will need to provide a copy of any short-term rental bookings that are scheduled as of the seller disclosure deadline for guest use of the property after closing, and a copy of any existing property management agreements affecting the property. The seller will need to provide evidence of any water rights and or any water shares, especially if you're out in Tooele County. That's a big deal out there. Written notice of any claims or conditions known to the seller relating to environmental problems or building or zoning code violations. Now, keep in mind, managing showings and handling disclosures effectively are important, and it sets the stage for a smooth and successful transaction.